All right, guys, it's March, so you know what that means. It's March Madness time. Look, March Madness is one of the best times in sports in the entire year. So once again, I'm partnered up with the DraftKings Sportsbook to give all new customers a fantastic offer. Bet $5 or more and get $150 in bonus bets instantly by using my promo code DCTV. Look, we've all picked brackets. We've done it since we were young, college, and everything. Now, use your knowledge to go and cash in and use those bonus bets to do so. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use my promo code DCTV, bet $5 or more, and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. We all have teams. My team, Oklahoma State, will not be in March Madness. We did not have a great season, but hopefully yours did. And guys, welcome to North Carolina, who just legalized sports betting and also just beat Duke. So you know the people in North Carolina are getting blessed over and over. So take mine that I am offering you. Bet 5 or more, get 150 in bonus bet by using that promo code DCTV. Only at the DraftKings Sportsbook, where the crown is yours. I'm back. Guys, last week we had an amazing week with Ben and I's episode. Some of the other clips did really, really well, I think, and appreciate you guys as always. But as I've kind of stepped away because little Daniel was getting ready for a state championship tournament, which he won, by the way, proud dad, sitting here on his birthday. I was watching news coming out in mixed martial arts, wondering, what do we have to discuss now? What do we as a family have to talk about? I do DC and chill Monday. Sean Strickland starts to talk. He does an interview with the Schmo. And the root of the interview, for the most part, is Sean Strickland believes that he should be next to fight for the championship against Dricus Du Plessis, who is essentially weighing his options between Sean and Israel Adesanya. I can tell you right now that the fight that was supposed to be UFC 300's headliner was Du Plessis versus Adesanya, but the champion had some stuff he did while the fight was getting finalized. So while I did tease that I knew the main event, it was one of the potential ones for UFC 300 that ultimately didn't work out. There were a lot of them that didn't work out, but ultimately we got a great one in Jamal Hill versus Alex Pereira. Sean Strickland makes his case, says that Adesanya doesn't deserve it, that he should be the guy because Adesanya got rematches after getting knocked out by Pereira, and he lost a very close competitive fight. All things that make sense. So at times, Sean Strickland does make sense in his arguments, because you can get lost in some of the other stuff that Strickland says and not realize that there is a lot of thought that goes into it. I don't know what fight should go first, but I do know that I believe that the history of Adesanya and Du Plessis, with all the negativity, would seem to be the one that, if I'm a company that's looking to build excitement, that I would probably look to approach first, just because of all the stuff that went on to Africa, South Africa, all this other stuff, because the messier the better. We've talked about this time and time again. But Sean Strickland can be far right or far left at times. So he starts talking about some of the biggest stars in mixed martial arts, John Jones and all those guys. And while he is saying some of the things that are true in terms of Jones's past, the one thing that stood out to me the most was him saying that John should just fight Aspinall. I agree. Again, I was watching Sean thinking to myself, wow, I'm agreeing a lot with Sean Strickland. I think they should fight, but I don't know that they will. Jones going to fight Stipe, and that's okay. That interaction between Aspinall and Jones the other day also didn't do anything to serve excitement, to serve as excitement going forward, because Jones kind of no-sold him. If he really was going to fight him, he would have engaged with him a little more. Sean Strickland had issues with Conor McGregor also, saying that, do we really care anymore? That seems to be the overwhelming sentiment. You know, one of the things and again, I was agreeing with Sean Strickland. I do care that Conor still fights. I do. I think that he still is the biggest star in mixed martial arts. But some things say, and I mean, watching yesterday, Conor McGregor did an interview a couple days ago with ESPN. And I looked at the numbers of the interview. And in the first hour, the interview did like maybe 4,000 views, 5,000 views. Still a solid number for the first hour, because that tells you you're looking at about 100,000 view video. Before, Conor McGregor interview would have done 25,000 to 50,000 in the first hour. So maybe Sean is speaking for the general public, that maybe the intrigue or the excitement for any news Conor has waned a little bit. But I do believe that the moment Conor McGregor gets back in the octagon, that all will change. But the thing that I was most intrigued by with this Sean Strickland interview was when he started to talk about his mental health. You know, Sean Strickland is a guy that has a very, very dark past. And we all know that. But that dark past has served to make him a world champion fighter and a guy that is willing to go through so much adversity, go through so many ups and downs, never lose sight of the goal and what's in front of him, and has made himself a former world champion. This is a man that started as a welterweight and didn't really have many prospects for much success inside the UFC, comes back as the middleweight champ, has made a ton of money, fought unbelievably talented fighters, beaten many of them, lost his belt in the last one as a pay-per-view headliner, has made money, said he's rich, and still can't get past the hurdles mentally. I want to make sure that we, as the consumer, that we as the people watching and paying attention, treat this in the same manner in which we treated Alexander Volkanovski when he spoke about his issues mentally. Because here's where I think we got to be careful when we watch these great athletes that stand atop the sport, really peel the blinds back and allow us to take a peek inside. When speaking mental health and mental issues, I believe that all the biases or the opinions that we have of this certain fighter, whether you love him or you hate him, have to take a back seat, and we have to look at the human being. Because when Volk said he was in his own head, we all rushed to speak to him, his strength, and how much anyone was willing to help. We need to make sure that we do the same thing for Sean Strickland. He said, all week, I've been fucked up. I've been on the Twitter saying crazy stuff, just fucking spiraling. I woke up and I told my girl, I was like, babe, I feel like a danger to people. I don't feel like I should be out in the world. And I think that I have everything. I'm rich. I'm famous. Like, I have everything I've ever wanted. And I'm still mentally unwell.
I've shared some shit with you guys, and you guys have shared some shit with me that, like, I feel more connected with my fans than I think most people feel, just because we've gone through a lot together. And man, I have everything I want, dude, and I still struggle with mental health,
That tells you, a lot of people think that money and all this other stuff eliminates all the problems. Sean Strickland, that's a plea for help. So we, as the mixed martial arts community, should rush to his side again, just like we did for Alexander Volkanovski. Because not only is this man actually telling us he needs help, he's even more forward than Volk was. That, to me, tells me that this is that guy that had all those issues growing up, and they're starting to resurface. Because the fighting and everything can serve to suppress a lot of things. The money can, the fame can. But when all those things that have served to push everything to the back start not being enough again, you really have to worry. So for all the people closest to Sean, obviously, they got to take a big look at him because he says wild things all the time. But when that wild thing comes after so many things that make sense right in front of it, you got to really take note of it and pay attention. I don't know Sean as well as most. I speak to Sean every time I'm around him. I feel we get along well. But what I'm going to do is reach out to Eric Nitzik to see if I can get in touch with Sean Strickland, or at least try to see if that dude just needs someone to speak to. Same thing I did for other people whenever they were going through stuff. Because I believe that as people that consume this, we have to show that same support we show the guy that we are loving universally in Alexander Volkanovski, because this man right here is crying out for help, telling us, hey, I'm struggling, guys. I'm struggling. And sometimes it's something that you don't anticipate being the thing that throws you into that spiral. It could be losing that championship belt. I remember when he first won the belt, it was almost like he didn't really care until you get it. And it's like that little weird dude on Lord of the Rings with the hair, stringy hair, talking about his precious because he was holding it. He wanted his precious. It was all he wanted in life. When you lose that gold belt, while it may not seem like the most important thing in the moment, when it's gone, you're like, man, I miss it. It's like meeting a woman you fall in love with, and then she leaves you. But you also know when you meet her, you can't keep her forever because no one's champion forever. But when it does go, you feel lost without it. And it takes some time to adjust to. And right now, I think that may be playing into why Sean seems to be struggling so much right now. But again, he was very thoughtful in so many of those things. Granted, it was behind a whole bunch of cuss words and everything. But this man's reaching out for help. We should support him as a mixed martial arts community to try to uplift this dude, because we will enjoy his entertainment going forward. But we also got to care about the person, the human being a little bit, and make sure that they're doing okay when it comes to mental health. You know, before I go, a person that Sean Strickland had in the crosshairs before was Layla Garry. She put out a video this week kind of explaining all the lies that were told about her and her family. I believe that it was long overdue for this video to be made. I really do. I think that when some of these things that were said about Ian and his wife for so long don't get addressed, they continue to grow. So while she was saying that all these things were growing and growing and spreading like wildfire, that's what happens when you don't address them. So it was time for someone to address them. Ian did it, but he did it in a way where he didn't just directly say all those things. Even in the interview with him and I, he spoke about it, but he spoke more about the anger of people attacking his wife and him not being able to protect her in those ways that he is so good at doing, right? Beating people up. He can't beat the average man up for talking shit about his wife. Can't do it. She clears it all up. Says her part. We have to believe her because it's their life. We can't form opinions and make them true if they are not true. She and Ian and whoever her ex-husband is and her mother and her father and everybody else, they're the only ones that know. We have to take what she said as fact because it's their life. But here's the key, and this is my bit of advice. It's over now. It's over now. Every time you speak, you open yourself up to being a part of the story. So Dustin Poirier's wife doesn't speak much, right? So when people attack her publicly, it just doesn't make much sense to me. I'm like, why are they attacking Jolie when Jolie really does stay out of the business? She knows that her man is the dude that fights. And if you want to talk shit, Dustin's going to handle that. That's how it works. I can envision a dude talking to her. She just kind of point to Dustin like, get him. That's just the way it works. And I can imagine with Ian, if Layla said, go get him, same thing would happen. But when you make your statement, especially on something like this, you become a part of the story. But you do have a right to say your part. But now that your part's saying, now it's time to kind of fall back a little bit. Because then you told your truth. They have to respect it and have to leave you alone. Leave you alone. Now Ian can get back to doing what he is so good at. You will still, hey, Layla will still get attacked by guys like Colby Covington because that's it, right? It's low-hanging fruit. They're going to attack her in that way. But there will be no more new attacks. It will only be from the old stuff because now your truth has been spoken. And I'm happy for it. I'm happy that she finally addressed it, or Ian finally addressed it. Whoever made the determination to do it, did it. Now it's out there. It's done. The truth has been spoken. Those were lies. Now we go forward, and Ian, once again, becomes the focus, and his fight career becomes the focus. And if you really just focus on Ian Garry's fight career, you could never boo him. You could never boo what this young man has done to this point in his career. You can't. He's a 25-year-old, 6'3" welterweight who has tremendous skills across the board and looks to be a guy that could contend for a future championship. How do you boo that? You can't. But you can boo all the other stuff. But now that that truth is spoken, it's over. It's over. You need to judge him solely on his fight career. And when you do that, people will fall in love with Ian Garry again. So I'm happy that the truth's been spoken. And I'm happy that the attacks that she should incur going forward will only be old attacks. And since you put a nail in it, a lid on it, it should all start to fade away at some point. But now the focus needs to be back on that young man's career. And when you do that, like I said, you really can't boo him because he's good. He's really good. Guys, make sure, leave a message on Sean's latest post. Tell him, hey, Sean, we love you. The person, maybe we don't like you as much as the fighter, but we love Sean the person. Or, Sean, we support you in your fight with mental health. And to the Garry family, you guys should feel a weight lifted off your shoulder now because now we all know the truth. And nobody can form opinions when you told them exactly what it is. Guys, until next time, watch the NCAA wrestling tournament. It's your boy, and I'm out. Peace.